Hi, this is Joe Freeman of the Oregonian. I am hanging out at the rim and backboard that the Blazers could not score at or defend Tuesday night at the Moda Center in a emphatic 116-101 loss to the Houston Rockets. It evened their record at 2-2 this year. Let's get right to three things. First thing, a two-headed monster. Dwight Howard and James Harden could not be stopped tonight by the Blazers. Dwight was dominant from the very beginning. He had 18 points and 8 rebounds at halftime, and it just got worse from there as he not only controlled the interior on defense, pretty much made the Blazers scared to come into the paint and even attempt a shot, but he dominated in all aspects of the game. He finished with 29 points and 13 rebounds, had just one blocked shot, but he might as well have blocked 10 or 12 because the way the Blazers avoided the paint that is right down beneath me at even trying to attempt a shot was alarming and really spoke to what a presence Dwight has in the interior. Meanwhile, James Harden finished with 33 points and 7 rebounds, and he hit timely shot after timely shot, including a huge step-back three when the Blazers were threatening to rally in the fourth quarter. He also had 3 what Wesley Matthews coined clever foul draws on shot attempts. Wesley Matthews went up like this with a hand in his face. James Harden went for the shot, followed through and brought his 2 arms around Wesley's hand. No contact, but then he fell down. Refs drew the call. So as Wesley said, he was 3 for 3 on that Tuesday night. But boy, say what you want about the Blazers defense, say what you want about the Blazers being overmatched. Houston really looks like a good, legitimate title contending team. Any team with a two-headed monster like these two guys that can beat you from so many areas on the court, including Dwight inside and outside, is going to be tough to tango with when they're playing their best. We're coming off a very alarming and disappointing loss at the Clippers, but to be able to right themselves in the what is always a tough Moda Center crowd was pretty impressive. So while this was a step back for the Blazers, you really have to hand it to the Rockets, who controlled the tempo on offense, and then more than anything controlled the Blazers on defense and really took them out of their game. Second thing, everybody scores in the paint. Say what you want about the Blazers' defensive improvements, and I would be the first to admit that they are a much better defensive team that puts a lot more emphasis on trying and playing defense. But an alarming trend has unearthed over the first 4 games of the season, and that is that the Blazers continue to allow a staggering number of points in the paint. They allowed 54 Tuesday night. It's the second time in 4 games they've allowed over 50. And I want to say the Spurs scored 48 or 46 off the top of my head. I can't remember. But either way, 3 alarming games. And really, the Blazers were short of answers afterward in the postgame locker room. I asked player after player, what do you guys need to do? How can you get better at scoring or not surrendering points in the paint? And they really couldn't say. I mean, obviously their transition defense plays a lot into that. The Rockets had 19 fast break points tonight. Phoenix had a ton of fast break points in that first game. That will factor into it too. And there's no doubt that Houston relies on scoring both right inside the paint and at the three-point line. And when you have Dwight Howard, who can score at will around the basket, and you have James Harden and other guys who can draw, Jeremy Lin who can drive and score layups, that's going to happen. But boy, for all the talk we've heard about defensive improvement, this really is a disturbing trend so far. And if it keeps up, if the Blazers cannot figure out how to resolve this, it's going to be an ongoing issue that is really going to sabotage all the defensive improvements they've made. Both Damian Lillard and Robin Lopez talked about the need to focus their energy on points in the paint, and part of it also, since I mentioned Robin Lopez, he was in foul trouble all night, and he only played like 18 minutes because he had 5 fouls. He drew his 5th late in the third quarter, so that certainly didn't help. And Meyers Leonard, who came in relief because Joel Freeman was unable to play, really did not look like he had his game together tonight, and he certainly contributed to that too. But answers or no answers, the Blazers need to find them quick, or else this really could snowball on them. Third thing, Meyers Leonard joins the rotation. Joel Freeman was unable to play against the Rockets because of a strained left hip, opening the door for Meyers Leonard to rejoin the player rotation. It didn't go so well. In Meyers' first 9 minutes of action in the first half, he had more fouls, 3, than he did points and rebounds combined, he had 1 rebound. It was a slow start, and it didn't get too much better for Meyers. He did hit a couple shots late. He finished with 6 points and 2 rebounds, but more importantly on defense, I thought he really struggled, and he still really didn't have that feel, that instinct that you need around the particularly in the paint. And I asked him a little bit after the game about that, if he just didn't have his feel or if he's still struggling to find his footing there, and he didn't necessarily agree with me. He said, and rightfully so, he said James Harden's a tough guy to guard in the pick and roll, basically, and Dwight Howard's a beast in the paint, so you have to give him that. But what I thought was most disturbing about his performance is I didn't see a lot of growth from him. Now, he hasn't gotten to play a lot this year either, so this is his first game of the season, essentially, besides mop-up duty, but you definitely saw the reason that Joel Freeland beat out Meyers in training camp. All the little dirty things and rugged things that Joel has been providing, from setting screens and rebounding and altering shots and all that, we didn't see that from Meyers. And so I guess that leads to the next question of when will Joel return? When Joel showed up to shoot around this morning, he told he told trainers and coaches that he wanted to play, but he was shot down by the trainers. They said, "You're not playing, we're shutting you down tonight." So he was inactive. He was not sure when he would be able to return. He was making improvement in his hip, so we'll have to wait that out. The Blazers have 2 off days of practices before returning to action in the first game of a back-to-back against the Sacramento Kings here on Friday night.